Wait, Rise of Skywalker wasn't the new porn parody? It was an actual movie?
Something finished all right.
Mike, you went to the wrong theater again.
No, I didn't.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Heroes Peak podcast. It is December 22nd, 2019, and I am your host, Chris, and we're here to talk about Star Wars, Rise of Skywalker. And I'm here, of course, with my great friends, Mike and James. How are you guys doing?
So good you couldn't remember our names for a second.
Jeez.
Happy
holidays, everyone, before we get to this mess.
Yep. It's finally warming up out there a bit.
Yeah, it's pretty warm.
10 feet of snow is starting to defrost, so the moat I always wanted around my house is almost complete.
It was 50 degrees today in New York.
Yeah, I don't speak American anymore.
America.
Sorry, I don't know what that is in Celsius.
The temperature the rest of the world uses, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Damn.
We keep things American on this podcast. Let's go release the Eagles. Hold on a minute. All right. Actually, as the Eagles are beating up on the Cowboys, we can say that. So today is Sunday, and Thursday, just a few days ago, there was released a big popular movie franchise finale, The Rise of Skywalker, the 9th movie in the saga of the Skywalkers, and we can't get rid of the Skywalkers. We're here to really just discuss that, and we're going to discuss it in depth. We're going to discuss a bunch of stuff about it. I'm going to play the spoiler warning.
I don't know, sir.
Of course you don't know. You don't know because only I know.
Don't care how I want it now.
Did you really go to a movie theater playing Cats?
Wait, Rise of Skywalker wasn't the new porn parody? It was an actual movie?
Something finished all right.
Mike, you went to the wrong theater again.
No, I didn't.
So we are going to talk Rise of Skywalker. It's all spoilers all day today. So if you really don't want to know and you haven't seen it yet, I don't think we're going to be able to go without giving our opinion rather quickly. So bail out now, come back, give us 5 stars, and the same things. All right.
Yeah, I'm going to apologize ahead of time to all you diehard. They are blinded by
all the movies. Nostalgia?
It's not just nostalgia. They're blinded by the love for Star Wars, right? So nobody can do anything wrong.
I thought I was pretty close to that, and obviously I'm not.
Good.
You know, someone taught me the lingo a couple years back of fan versus fanboys or fangirls. Right. You know, the fan is a person who has an affinity for the product, who likes the product, who invested in it, and continues to support it. However, the fanboy and fangirl is the one that is obsessed about the product beyond the object, and no matter what quality the content comes out in, they will continuously support that to the other end. Fanboy, fangirl versus the fan. It's a big divide at times. You know, DC, usually anything sci-fi or comic book geek culture, you're gonna have the two: Doctor Who, Star Trek.
Yeah. So I'm pretty close to those within the Star Wars universe, and I'm pretty close to that in the Robotech universe. Like, I don't think I'm there, but I'm close.
Fanboy, fangirls, and Robotech? Jesus.
It takes a lot.
These guys building mechanized... I'm afraid of those guys. Mechanized suits in the garage. Protoculture.
You should be.
All right. So let's start with some box office results here. Because this movie, you know, I thought it was going to do pretty well. Its predecessors did pretty well. I guess the only question was how well was it going to do? And so on a budget of $200 million, we had an opening... I lost my numbers.
By $175 million, I believe, domestic.
Yes. Yes, 175, and we probably still have not the final numbers, but oh, I'm in the wrong window. That's why. Sorry, guys. All right. So yeah, 175 million, 373 worldwide. So that's
Okay,
what we
decent
call
numbers.
pretty good
Decent numbers, but I think they fell short of what they were targeting.
Yeah, they're not gonna hit that Force Awakens money. The mystery is done.
Yeah, but they're not even hitting the Last Jedi numbers either.
Yeah. Well, Last Jedi had that Force Awakens coattails, right?
Yeah.
Well, this also had the, hey, this is the last one. I had a few people question, oh, so they're not making any more Star Wars, so we have to go. So I think there was something, it had its own bounce. It wasn't 100% reliant on whatever people thought of The Last Jedi,
Right.
which still has a decent IMDb rating and whatnot.
Well, I for one was curious to see what would happen after the mess of The Last Jedi. So that's why I
So
wanted
from
to
what
see
I'm reading, this is usually Chris's home court here, but 176 million in U.S. compared to Force Awakens domestically made 248, and Last Jedi made 220. So I think they're still hoping to hit the $200 million mark, and they fell short of that by 24 million.
So it's far from a failure.
Right.
You know, they just about covered their budget on the opening weekend. More than that, because the worldwide. So, you know, this thing it's not gonna threaten Endgame. I think we can say.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Even though surprisingly, you know, and we all know online ratings aren't perfect, to put it lightly, but this is running about even a little lower than Force Awakens and Last Jedi on most of the ratings except for the Rotten Tomato audience rating. So it's running quite a bit stronger than The Last Jedi in audience rating. But I haven't been able to trust Rotten Tomatoes since people started being able to spam it.
Yeah, I don't trust any of these. Cinema Score, Metacritic. Chris, you know these better than I do, but just from like starting to listen to some of this stuff and do my own research, it seems like, and one for Cinema Score, for example, it got a B plus, which is the lowest of any of the recent Star Wars movies.
Do you know how they get those cinema scores?
No, you educate us, please.
They actually have people standing outside theaters, so they ask people how do they like it as they walk
wow,
out of the
didn't know
theater.
that.
Now,
Here's what I don't like, and I don't want to bring politics into it, but it's the same thing in politics when they do the poll. Who do you vote for? And everybody goes, "Oh, the exit polling tells us, Hillary Clinton is projected to win so and so," and then you actually go home at a watch party, and you feel like, "Oh, Clinton just got destroyed here in this same county that had exit polling of her winning by 30%, 30 points." So I don't take people. Sometimes will tell you what they think you want to hear coming out of a movie theater because they see this camera in their face and his mic from like whomever network or newspaper. Like, yeah, I love the movie. It was great. Great way to end off the movie. And in reality, they hated the movie. So it's like,
oh, it's weird. I mean, I think as much as we all of us project a bit of what we feel about it into others. I was surprised at how high the ratings were for this, even though it was quote unquote a touch lower. They're all B plus compared to an A minus of the other two is all in all equal.
I think.
So I think.
Sorry, I was gonna say. I think my impression of these, just to go back to the exit polling and politics, is the casual fan is going to be a little bit fearful of really expressing how they feel because they know of this toxic fandom that exists out there. So until they start hearing from others, like in a larger media platform, whether it be YouTube or Twitter, they start hearing others like kind of complain about the movie, then they feel a little more brave about expressing their own opinions. Like, yeah, you know what? I listened to Collider, and they had the same points that I had about the movie. Yeah, the movie wasn't as good as I thought it was after the first viewing, after I already made my CinemaScope proclamation how good this movie was. And if people start rethinking, and all of a sudden there's a wave of a lot of negative opinions that are just building and building and building.
But that's kind of the prequel trilogy effect. The people walking out, they enjoyed themselves. They had fun in a movie theater. It was Star Wars. It was big. It was bright. It was explosions. and then maybe later they go, come to think of it, that Jar Jar character or that weird horned beast Coliseum fight wasn't as uh, really that great of a
Yeah.
storyline. Do you know what I mean? So I don't doubt that people coming out had a Star Wars high, but
Yeah, the thing is too, when you're sitting there watching, there's so much going on. You don't really get to process it,
Yeah.
right away, right?
mm-hmm.
Like for me, it was a few hours. I was thinking back of what I saw. Like, but as I was watching, I was like, pew pew, all right, give me more. Mind closed and
And Mike,
the
you
fan.
classified that pretty good the other day when you said when you first go and watch it, you watch it as like with your family, as a casual observer,
Right.
and then the second time you go
Yeah.
as a critic. So do you find
Yeah.
yourself changing your opinions between those two viewings?
I don't. Well, I didn't. I was supposed to go see it again today. I didn't get a chance to, right? Because Christmas shopping. So,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna see it again either tomorrow or Tuesday. So I will. But most likely, yes, it will. My opinion will change again after the second viewing because second time around, I'm usually looking for like I know what's gonna happen, so I'm not really paying attention to what they're saying, but I'm looking at what's going on as well behind the scene, behind them and looking for other things. And then, you kind of catch those things the next time around and you pay more attention to, wait, this doesn't make sense. And why is this here? And why
Yeah.
are they doing this now? Right.
So I think the casual audience probably
Okay.
doesn't do that much research. They might just go once, form their opinion, and then when they start reading
Yeah.
online and start watching other social media reviews, then they just automatically kind of shift their minds and be like, yeah, that
Yeah.
dude is right. That dude is yelling on the screen about how this is the worst movie ever.
Well, I think with these big ticket action movies, we can all get lost in the action parts, but I think it's what sticks with you. Do you sit there and go, "Oh man, that fight between Kylo and Rey really stuck with me, and that's where I am, and so I enjoyed that, and that's kind of my big impression," or is it that, oh, they were down in that hole, and I can't believe they found that dagger. That was such a stupid plot line. If you're stuck in that as your big takeaway, I saw all these plot holes. That was my takeaway. I think you're going to have a more negative reaction later on. So I think it's what part of the movie sticks with you, I think colors your general reaction, and then you can get, if you care, you'll go on YouTube or hopefully listen to this podcast and find out how you really feel about them.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said before, like if for those who go for the nostalgia,
yeah,
this movie is going to hit it for them.
That was funny.
Right?
A lot of
Yes.
the people I saw that were off the bat Twitter defending the movie were saying it felt more Star Wars. Well, if you say it feels more Star Wars, that means you feel like I saw Luke doing a Luke thing, and I saw
All the Easter eggs that came
Right.
that were there.
Chewie got a medal.
Finally.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Well
And it
earned.
doesn't. Okay, I want to point something out quickly. I'm looking at the IMDb page,
Yes.
and I need to tell them that their plot keywords are in order: Disney, Star Wars, LGBT, short-haired woman, woman with a masculine short hair, woman with masculine hair. Why the fuck are those plot keywords?
You gotta be kidding me.
Because there was one kiss at the very end of the movie that had nothing to do with anything. And
Oh
why
yeah,
the
yeah,
hell?
yeah.
But you wouldn't have noticed if you paid any attention to it.
I didn't even notice that in the movie. What was that about?
So
So
when
it was
everybody was celebrating,
Yeah,
sorry.
when they were celebrating at the end of the movie, they showed random scenes
Okay.
of different pilots who were getting off and like hugging their colleagues.
Yeah.
And then they showed two women. One was a pilot, and the other one, I don't think she was a pilot at all. She was probably a support staff or TAC officer. And then they came and they shared a quick lip-to-lip lock.
So basically,
Yeah, it was-
like when Cap was in his, they started Endgame and Cap was in his support group, and they had the guy talk about his boyfriend, and everybody was like, "Oh, LGBT representation," and you're like, I think Disney's going really light.
Yeah, really light. Although I do know one person in particular who did enjoy that scene, but he also said, yeah, the fact that people are celebrating it as like a landmark achievement is stupid. It was nice. He
Right.
said it was nice for it to see, and that's all. It didn't have to be like used as like a hallmark, a Dr. King moment for the LGBT
Right.
community. It wasn't. It wasn't that at all.
I just found it weird. It was in these plot keywords. I'm like, what the hell? Am I in the wrong movie? No.
So sticking with the conversation about the
Sorry.
ratings and no and the
Move
so
forward.
far the box office numbers, what do you think is going to be the second weekend? Because now we're into Christmas week, right? We've got some holidays, people will be off. Do you think that the combination of days off and holidays is going to either increase, their drop off won't be 30-40%, maybe only be 10% for next
Oh
week?
no.
Or you think because of the word of mouth and the buzz, it may actually drop even further?
Yeah, everybody who's asked me, I try not to give anybody a negative review without asking them what they've heard, or a positive. Really, I say, so what are your feelings? What have you heard from others, right? And a lot of the people have said, I've heard it's not that great. What did you think? And so, I think there's a general not great buzz about it,
Hmm.
but that's only, I can only say from my own personal experience. Have you guys talked to people who haven't seen it and they've asked you?
Yes. There's my Comic Con group, my San Diego crew. For the most part, I think it's probably 50-50. And it's a strong 50-50. There was a group of folks who said this was one of the best ones, top three. They really loved it and enjoyed it. But then there was a more vocal group that were like, this was
Mm-hmm.
terrible. And then one guy was like, from hearing a lot of you guys, your marks, and also knowing that I didn't like TLJ at all, I'm not going to waste my time. So feel free to spoil. I don't care. I'm not going to see it. And him and I clashed on some Marvel movies, some DC movies, but the fact that he just took me and a few other guys' word from our description, he was like, "Yep, that sounds like what I thought it was going to be. No thanks. I'm not going to waste my money on this movie." I was like, "Wow, that's tough."
See, I think this will. Oh, sorry, Mike. Have you had any?
No. Most of the people I know have seen it. Like
Mhm.
I know I haven't actually talked to people who haven't seen it though, and asked them if they're going to. Just for the most part, I know that most that I know are going to see it if they haven't. So I
Right.
haven't heard anyone saying no based on such and such. I'm not going to go.
Yeah, I think
So
the casual fan is just going to see it if they thought about seeing it. I don't think
yeah,
it's review because it's just what it is. It's a
But you know
Star
what I
Wars
also
film.
found out in this whole debate between the groups is that for those who really, really disliked it, unlike me, a lot of them actually had Reddit leaks revealed to them. So they already came in knowing a lot of the plot points and was hoping that it was all false. And then as they realized that these leaks are about 75% correct, they just came out with so much vitriol to the movie where it was just like
Hmm.
they were just going on rants and like just saying yes, this, don't waste your time, this what you saw in Reddit is this is correct, yes, this actually did happen. And I'm like, wow, I thought I was
Yeah.
upset about the movie, but these guys are a whole other level of being angry about the movie.
See, I'm not angry about the movie. I'm just
Yeah.
disappointed. That's what my mother
yeah. I'm
used to
not
say.
Yeah.
angry
I'm not
either.
angry.
Yeah,
I'm just disappointed.
and
Said that a lot.
I'm predicting it's going to make another 50 million next weekend.
Oh.
No. I think it's gonna go down probably about 50%, probably average. It's got no competition. The only thing's opening. What we got? Little Women, 1917, Spies in Disguise, Just Mercy. I mean, it's not like you've got another
None of those are holiday movies, holy cow.
Hmm.
unless people go back to see Jumanji again. Um,
Or Frozen too.
yeah, those things have already had their opening weeks. I don't think you're getting anything, and even into January, looking Bad Boys 2,
Is that
Doctor.
coming out already?
Okay, it's in
Uh,
January.
yeah, January 17th. Bad Boys
Wow.
Bad Boys 3, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Bad Boys for Life, right?
Doctor Doolittle. That's gonna flop. Sorry.
You think
Sorry,
so?
This
RDJ.
may be the first time where the network streaming platforms out there can actually capitalize on the holiday, knowing that
Mm-hmm.
there isn't much out there in the big screen. And the biggest biggest movie right now is not getting that much of a great buzz. So like, you know what? I'm just gonna stay home, drink my eggnog, and watch The Irishman.
Yeah, I think you're gonna get a good 50% drop as expected, but it's still gonna break 100. No, it wouldn't. It'd be like 90 million next
Yeah, it should
weekend.
be around 90 million.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna call 90. I'm gonna say stick with my 50.
Wow. I don't know about that, dude. I don't.
Mike calling
Yeah.
his shot.
I don't know about
That
that.
I'm just talking domestic though, right?
Yeah,
these are
domestic.
numbers.
50%
But it
drop.
also,
That's dude, that's huge.
yeah,
I was thinking 30 to 40% being bad. You went 50.
Not me. That's more than 50.
175 million. Cut that by 2. That's more than 50.
90
Yeah,
million.
Yeah, it's more than 50.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. I think it is what it is. It's a Star Wars movie. It's the last, quote unquote, last Star Wars movie of this saga. It's gonna make money. It's gonna break $1 billion, but $1.5 billion, you think, maybe worldwide total?
Mm.
You know, that's, I mean, what we're arguing, just not as good. All right, so I think we should hop on to the synopsis bandwagon here. Who wants to do a synopsis for me?
Sure. So basically, you can hear the zeal in my voice. Basically, surviving resistance faces the First Order. So we had, if you recall, the end of Last Jedi, the resistance was basically in shambles. There was a very few of them.
I did because I watched it just before I
still
went.
remember because I only seen it once, and I still had committed that mess to memory. Is after the Battle of Kuwait, Luke gave them. Luke sacrificed himself and gave Leia and what was left of the Resistance a chance to escape from the New Order and trying to find other Resistance homeworlds and other members to help the Resistance since they were basically in shambles. So this movie starts with the fact that they are again on a run from the First Order, but a new threat is emerging, and that is the form of Emperor Palpatine. So now you have the First Order having to pivot a little bit to recognize Palpatine's presence in the galaxy while still hunting down what's left of the Resistance. And that's basically the synopsis of this well-written movie.
Oh, we should give credit where credit
Yes.
is due.
Chris Terrio, I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. Chris Terrio,
I think it's
and
Terrio.
our own J.J. Abrams.
Chris Terrio from such fine movies as Justice League and Batman v Superman and Argo.
And Argo, which he did win an Oscar for.
And apparently Justice League Part 2 is in works.
Oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
Ouch. All right. So I think how I want to do this is we'll go by, I'm not going to do scene by scene, but let's kind of do scene groupings and kind of go through the plot that way. And we can talk about characters, plot points, or action, or things that are part of that are interesting or fall good, bad, ugly.
I like that. Let's
whatever.
start with the opening crawl because I didn't, So
Yeah,
this opening
The
crawl
dead
to me,
speak.
the dead speak. By the way, did you realize the dead speak only through Fortnite?
No, I don't play Fortnite. So.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Well, my son did afterwards. Apparently, that the broadcast of Palpatine letting the galaxy know he was alive was filmed and broadcasted through a Fortnite game.
Wait, how's that work?
So, and one of the platforms as Fortnite members you get to go through, you actually unlock some area, and then you'll get like an in-game video broadcasting of Palpatine's speech that was a reference in the movie.
Okay, so we don't.
Yeah, so it's a
And if you
marketing
don't play the
ploy
video,
for young kids who play Fortnite.
but if you don't play the video game, you don't get to hear what he said.
Right.
No.
Oh, gee, thanks.
Yeah. So when that opening crawl tells you the dead speak,
Yeah.
a message from someone thought long dead is being broadcast. That's what that was referencing from Fortnite.
Okay, so I'm actually going to read this here. So, Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker. The galaxy is in disarray. In the years since Luke Skywalker became one with the Force, the First Order's hold over the galaxy has only strengthened.
Are you reading directly from the opening crawl?
Yeah, It's on YouTube.
Okay, so the whole
Wait. Oh,
no,
whoa. No.
not it.
I'm screwed up. This is fan
Yeah,
made.
fan made. Because I
Jeez,
remember
I'm
the
sorry,
actual
guys.
cross said something about he rages across the galaxy. I was like,
Yeah. I was like, wait a minute. There's something
yeah.
missing.
I remember him. He rages across the galaxy. Arrgh.
It's more like whines like a teenager, really.
What? I hate you, YouTube. Give me something real. I can't find it. There's too many fan-made ones getting pushed up at the top. So yeah, it was doing a lot of work. It was basically said, hey, everybody
Yes.
knows about the Emperor, just so
And
you
let's
know.
talk about why hell would the Emperor
I know you
announce
didn't know,
himself
but we know.
to the entire galaxy like that, and that just could. The Palpatine that we knew, the Palpatine that we knew from the previous 6 movies, would have never done that. He would have worked from the shadows as a Sith.
That man was
A planner.
He was
yeah,
devious.
everything.
He was conniving.
Even the
he was
even
cunning.
the Jedi
So
were
here-
aware of his presence, basically.
The galaxy had heard a mysterious broadcast in Fortnite, a threat of revenge in the sinister voice of the late Emperor Palpatine. General Leia Organa dispatches secret agents to gather intelligence while Rey, the last hope of the Jedi, trains for battle against the diabolical First Order. Meanwhile, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren rages in search of the Phantom Emperor, determined to destroy any threat to his power. ...
And I didn't feel that. Did you?
Well, then the very first scenes they show him in a montage of him like taking down look like some samurai.
Alien.
Yes, samurai aliens from an old martial arts movie.
Yeah, this was right in the trailer. You see him. It's apparently it's supposed to be Mustafar in that red planet, but you wouldn't know it.
That's Mustafar.
So,
No. Why was he there?
well, so he's going to find the Wayfinder, right?
Oh, the Wayfinder.
So
yeah.
Can we please just call it a holocron? Because that's what it is.
That's what I thought it
It's
was.
a goddamn
When I looked at it,
holocron.
I thought
So
it was a
basically,
holocron.
it's a device that would lead Sith to this Sith planet, right? This hidden Sith.
Yes,
Right.
Exegol, which wasn't the one in the original canon legends, whatever. But for this movie universe, it now is the Sith homeworld. Exegol.
So, what do you think? Do you think this montage of him running around, killing guys, being tough, helmet off, by the way, no helmet, very colorized, stylized, and picking up a device that we don't know what it is when we first see it. What did you think as you walked into this movie? This is the first thing you see. Did you go, ooh, or did you go, oh, all right, well, what's going on?
I was a little bit ambivalent. I was like, okay, so we're starting with some direct into action scene. That's good. Keep me entertained. But I'm not really caring about whoever he's fighting because none of them look like they're comparable warriors. So it's just like, you know, you're just coming through, just wrecking shop and what's happening. I'm still watching with, intent on enjoying it. Then I see the Sith, what I thought was a Sith holocron. I'm like, ooh, we're connecting now to Rebels. All right. So for the first time, I'm like nodding, like, all right, here we go.
Well, not
Where
just
we going
Rebels,
next?
right? Because holocrons were back in. If you ever played the Force Unleashed, we had holocrons in it.
Okay.
So
Didn't know
even
that.
back then, yeah, those were
So far, so good
Yeah.
from me. What about you, Chris?
So I was like, okay. I was kind of iffy. I really tried to go in feeling good with not high expectations, but I'm gonna enjoy this. I'm just gonna let it flow over me. I'm just gonna take this story on, and
Mm-hmm.
I was just like you, James. I was like, okay, this is all right. This is all right. I'm kind of confused, but they're gonna tell me exactly what's going on. Just give it to me. And so I really hadn't gone anywhere yet. I think the next couple of
And boy, did they give it to you the next scene.
the next couple of scenes really got a thought in my head that I just couldn't let go. And I'm gonna. So what, James? What happened next?
So basically, he gets the holocron Wayfinder device, plugs it into his ship. Cool ship, by the way. He always had cool ships. And he lands at Exegol.
Mhm.
And immediately I thought of the Sith planet from Rebels Season 2, where Darth Maul was manipulating Ezra and Kanan to find another holocron that he wanted to find Obi-Wan with.
Mm-hmm.
I guess their own wayfinder. But the same inverted pyramid type style was exactly from Rebels. So I'm like, oh man, now they're really connecting, you know, the TV with the movie universe. This is great. And he's walking in, he unleashes his broadsword saber, badass walk, and then you see the temple and you hear the music, like this sounds like Sith, you know, Palpatine, and then Palpatine emerges, and I'm like, what the fuck?
So this is where I got my first thought, and I went, "We're in fast forward. Why are we already here?" I'm like, where's the rest of this movie? You're like you said, it was so awesome. He lights his saber, he's dragging it across the ground, he's just walking. The whole transition from the wayfinder to him flying through that red part of space,
awesome.
Everything was red and black on the screen.
Love it.
You know, so visually stunning, and basically they showed you this whole thing in the trailer. You basically got this entire beginning in the trailer. So
yeah, that's
which
what
I thought would have
was
been in
too.
the third act. I thought that would have been in the third act, but
but that was my thought too. I was seeing this whole thing. I was like, man, I saw this in the trailer. Okay, let's go.
And I thought, I'm like, okay, we're in fast forward. We seem really far into this story already, but okay, what's going on? And so we meet the Emperor, and we get that. So just before the movie, they released a TV spot where this entire Emperor speech existed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead, James.
So he makes his speeches. I've always been the one in your, you know, pulling up the puppets behind, you know, influencing you. And then as he's walking, you see Snoke a canister or some sort of a cylinder vat with like clones of Snoke.
Yeah, multiple of them.
So not only did we know that Snoke, for some of us, felt like Snoke was just a throwaway figure by Rian Johnson.
Literally.
Now JJ had to piss in our face one more time to say, yeah, Snoke really was just trash, and here it is for your viewing pleasure.
Here's a whole canister of Snoke.
Of Snoke.
You want to know Snoke's background?
And I'm like, I thought Snoke was disfigured the way he was because of some epic duel that he had. No, he was just poorly misshapen and formed through genetic cloning.
Yep. They should have at least opened one, let one come out, and be like, "I'm back."
No, he should have been like a little Voldemort baby, where they like
something.
Just terrible.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, you think Kylo's gonna, you know, actually strike the Emperor. That doesn't happen because the Emperor is in his middle of his freaking monologue about galactic control, and then this is where the first time I was like, "You gotta be shitting me," because it's gonna happen a lot.
Yeah.
When he unleashes the Sith Armada, and I'm like, "Wait, what?"
It was already there. It was already rising.
Yes. It was in the ocean, rising, a whole conglomerate, a fleet of Sith ships.
Who's flying
Star
those things, by the way? Yeah. Who's flying those things?
Why are you asking?
I'm asking you because you guys you should know the answer. I don't know.
They were all manned. Every single one of them was fully manned.
Look, all I know is a typical Star Destroyer has at least 50 to 100 people on the crew.
Not these ones. The black robe Sith guys that you saw, they were piloting. They got pilot training. You know,
really?
Let me start on this whole Sith freaking.
What you don't know is Top Gun Maverick is actually the training of Sith clones to be pilots.
Basically.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, it was. You saw the bridge of a couple of them, and they had commanders, and they had pilots, and they had crew, so they were manned supposedly, even though they looked like it went on forever. A whole fleet of them.
Were they all Snoke clones? Maybe, I don't know.
Wait, hold on. Was this the moment too where they actually showed you one of them?
Yeah.
Firing.
So no, not yet. I don't think they
did.
They do that? Mind. Was that quick?
No, I don't.
I think
I thought it was because he was trying to influence.
Yes. Yeah.
Kylo, this is your fleet. You can take over the galaxy as the final order. Second time I said, you gotta be fucking shitting me. Final order, and I think to demonstrate
I thought that happened
One of the
after
ships.
the flight of the Falcon.
Oh, could be.
Because I think
I'm
we had
confused
one
about
scene
the
before
storyline.
we had the planet blow up. And,
Okay, so
and
never mind.
and I think we shifted from there over to Finn and Poe and BB-8 flying the Falcon, right?
Okay, thank you. So you're right. Because I thought there was one last thing that he used to persuade Kylo, who came on a mission to kill him, but circled back on that mission and decided, no, I'm going to use this fleet.
He
And
told him about Rey. He said you have to kill the girl, and
yes, before she completes her Jedi training or something like that.
Kylo asked why, and he just like smiled or something. It was weird.
Because I said
You know
so.
why.
You know.
Because I said
You know
so.
why.
I'm your
And then we go to the
grandfather.
next scene.
Just
We go to the
listen.
next scene with I guess Rey was training through the jungle.
Yeah, so basically you have the three things going on. You have Rey training, you have Kylo going on this mission, and you have the Falcon, Poe and Finn doing a rebel mission to get information.
And just
Yes.
arguing back and forth for no reason.
So yeah, let's talk about the flight of the Falcon here. And you have, like I said, you have Poe,
Chewie was
Finn,
with them, right?
Poe, Finn, Chewie,
Yeah.
and BB-8, and they're on a dangerous mission to connect with someone who's gotten into the First Order, a spy, and so it's a great speeder chase. If anything, it was fun, but for some reason they had Poe being rather
Cheeky.
No, he wasn't cheeky, and Finn. Oh, this got
Yeah,
me. I was like, what happened to Finn? He's not funny. He's an asshole. And they're fighting. Like, there was just bickering. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, they were bickering like Laurel and Hardy or Abbott and Costello.
Right. And so they connect. They hear that there's a spy, and they have to get out of there. And it's basically a chase.
We know we love our chases in Star Wars movies. So
honestly, I would have thought that the movie would have opened with that, because classically we've opened with space flight, right?
Yeah.
But okay, so let's do the Rey. And do you guys have anything to say about Finn, Poe, Chewie?
Let's go to the Rey moment.
All right, go ahead.
So it's been a year, like you mentioned, it's been a year.
I have a lot to say about FN 2187.
218.
All right, plenty of time.
I'm not. Yeah.
So we get into Rey's Jedi training, right? Rey clearly, it's been a year and she's gotten stronger in the Force. She's able to levitate, a la Yoda style, and form like a covalent bond of rocks around her, which was nice to see.
Have you guys seen Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Of course.
No, I have not.
You have not.
So the animated.
The movie or the show?
Remember the conversation I say when I was confusing Avatar, the Blue People movie?
Oh no. Basically, there's a scene in the last episode of the Last Airbender TV show where Aang is doing this exact thing with fire, water, and stones, where he's standing in the middle. It's just a callback for me personally and anybody who's seen it.
Yeah, great series, by the way.
Right.
So it was nice to see her actually do that, and I figured a year has passed, so she's gotten stronger in the Force. But then obviously after she lands, she's like, come to me, right? I don't quite get what she's saying and why, but she loses control and then nicely somersaults and lands. And then does a whole chasing scene where she's running after the speedball.
Oh, she meets Leia. She talks to Leia before.
Oh yes, she gets the lightsaber from Leia, which is a quirky scene because it looks like it was cut weird because there was like the handoff of the lightsaber versus receiving it. Seemed like it happened at two different times, and maybe they only had one footage of Leia, so they kind of reused it, which is fine. I get it. I know real life versus what they're trying to do.
But here's our reveal that Leia has been training Rey, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's been training, and she's telling her to absorb your past, something like that. Be who you're meant to be. Believe in yourself. One of those, type of speeches. So then she goes on the second half of her training, right?
Which is like
and that's when Kylo Force FaceTimes her, which now at this point is no longer cute. It was cute in the second movie, but now this movie it's going to get to the very absurd level later on in this movie.
Right.
Where it's just like, are you kidding me? Like, he can just basically, any given moment, Force FaceTime you, interrupt whatever you're doing.
Wouldn't you hate that from your ex?
Yes. What are you doing? You
It's
up?
like it's like the worst possible
Like,
villain.
I'm married now. Like, we're over.
Check
You sure?
your DMs, Ray.
I changed my number. How do you get this number? The Force, baby.
Right. So in the last one, it was played off as a, oh, you know what? They had a connection, but Snoke kind of amplified it, so they were able
Mhm.
to talk, see each other, almost touch, kind of make this like connection. But when they ended The Last Jedi, she was like, nope. She like felt like she could cut him off when she wanted.
Yes, this is before you knew Palpatine was really pulling the strings
Right.
behind. So obviously, even with Snoke's death, that connection was
Right.
still being manipulated.
So now Kylo has the ability to basically interrupt her, not
Mhm.
only mentally, but it feels, even in this scene, it feels almost physical because she all of a sudden she can't block the laser bolts. She's trying to train and she's cutting down trees and blowing things up, and she's having trouble as he's kind of trying to find her is what he's trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this is a scene I want to talk about. Mike, do you have anything to say before I go chattering on?
No, I'm with James where the whole Force Skype thing is annoying to me now. So
It lost its appeal
yeah,
quickly, and it got to the absurd level quickly.
So the two things here for me is this is the first time we saw Leia, and I was like, okay, this is how she's gonna be. I recognize this shot, this direction. They're gonna go back and forth. Okay. Now later on, I think they failed Leia a bit. I think they could have done more. It felt like they had like two shots and they went with those, right? But other than that, she was fine. I mean, they gave her exactly what you expect. She gave her a pep talk, and then she had a snark line, and then she'd leave. Like that was Leia's role here. That, and I think that's really all I had to say because we already talked about the Force Skype thing.
Yeah, let's go to the Burning Man festival that happens next, please.
So, well, I think this is where we get the explosion of the planet. Because that's what sets everything off. Is there's a what am I thinking? Ooh, this movie moves so fast.
One
it
of
really
one
is.
of the the new Sith starships reveals that it not only is it a ship that was hiding for like, I don't know, 25 years in the oceans of Exegol by Palpatine, but it has the ability to have a Death Star-like cannon integrated to the ship, which made you think that the entire Force Awakens movie was for naught, because if they were wasting time building these damn Star Killers base, they could have just used these damn ships in the first movie and gotten what they wanted by destroying the entire New Republic and controlling the galaxy. What was the sense of that if they already had capabilities 300 times fold?
Well, remember Rogue One? They had to strip an entire planet of crystals,
Kyber crystals,
right, in order to create the cannon that could do what this cannon did on such a small scale. And in The Force Awakens, they had to suck an entire star in order to blow up a couple. They blew up like 4 planets at once, but still, and the weird thing about that scene is that all of a sudden, like, all of the people standing around hearing that this planet blew up, all of a sudden knew all this information. Oh, the Emperor's back. Oh, I heard that the Emperor has all these ships. Oh, I heard all these ships could.
Yeah,
Each
who did
one
you hear
has the
that
ability
from?
to
Galaxy
blow up a planet.
NPR.
Yeah, I want to know who you heard that from.
All of them.